Welcome to Inside Patient Attraction. I'm Colin Receiver, and today I'm going to be joined by Tim Horst, our web development manager here at SmartBox. Now, Tim, he leads up the team of web developers that we have that do all the back-end coding for all of our dentist sites. We'll be showing you by the end of today's episode things that you need to know so you're not sold a bill of goods, and what you need to know, what's important to a dentist to know about how this fits into the whole picture of the patient attraction system, so that at the end of the day, you're getting more and better patients from your marketing. Stick around. Welcome back to Inside Patient Attraction. I'm here today with Tim Horst, our web development manager, and we're going to be talking today about all the hype about web development standards and Google and how you are probably being oversold from other companies on what kind of development and SEO and back-end structure you need to really attract more and better patients into your practice. So welcome here, Tim.
Thank you, Colin.
Honored to have you here and chat a little bit about what's going on in the web development world.
Thank you very much.
What do you see day in and day out in your world? Tell me a little bit about what you spend your days doing.
Well, my day is spent ensuring that the development for all of our doctors' website is taken care of in a timely fashion, well-built, maintained, and structured and such that our sites load and perform as best they can.
Awesome. And how has that evolved over the years? How you've been doing this for
20 years
20
now.
years.
Yeah.
How have you seen things change over the last 20 years?
Well, it's changed tremendously. 20 years ago, we spent our time full-blown, all day writing code. Every code was developed and written specifically for the site that was being launched at the time. It was all static. There was no real dynamic capabilities. If you wanted something to interact with a database or such, you'd have to write 25, 35, 40 lines of code just for that interaction alone.
Whereas today we have technologies like WordPress, for instance, that it's all built in and it just happens.
All built in. It does all the heavy lifting for you. If you want it out of the box, it's there to do what you need it to do. But that being said, our developers customize and build functionalities specifically for our doctors' needs.
And tell me about your development team.
Well, we have 9 developers on staff. Their responsibilities include theme development, site builds, look and feel and such. As I mentioned before, we do plug-in development, unique items that a doctor's site will need to interact. We have a line manager whose responsibility is ensuring that all the tasks and all the builds are kept on time. And we also have a full-time QA analyst.
And what's the QA do?
The QA ensures that the build, the content, imagery, everything on the site is as it should be for the launch.
Quality assurance.
Quality assurance.
And how does the way that we do it here at SmartBox with custom building these for each doctor, with developing, specific needs, how does that differ from, other places out there like I've heard of from Wix or these template cookie cutter websites? Tell me a little bit about the differences.
Well, it's exactly it. They're cookie cutter. There's no customization. You're very limited into what you can choose for a look and feel aspect of a website. You are limited also in the functionalities that you can achieve with your website. There's no ability to have any specific unique need that you would need for your site to be built. You would have to rely on the only things that they offer to get what you're looking for.
How do the sites that SmartBox builds differ from, we've heard of Wix and these sites that, boom, 30 minutes later they pop up and they're there for the doctor. How does what we do differ in terms of what we do and the results that it gets, and why for our doctors versus using those other cookie cutter type alternatives?
Well, they're cookie cutter. You're going to get the same thing that everybody else that's using that service is going to get. A non-unique website, a website that performs at the same level that their other clients or customers perform at. We have the ability to customize the site. We have the ability to take things like page speed, site optimization, image optimization, load times, these factors in, and then customize the website so that we can optimize the speeds to make it perform as well as possible for the doctor.
What's that mean for the doctor?
The doctor is going to get better page rankings in SEO. They're going to get a better user experience because the user is not going to be frustrated because the site's not loading or it's missing images or they're not able to interact with it. And it's going to ultimately give them back an ROI that is going to be positive for them.
I've often told doctors that cheap marketing and cheap websites are the most expensive because it's a complete flush down the toilet.
It is. Again, because you're getting the same thing that everybody else gets for that set price. The minute you start needing new functionality, or if you want to incorporate some third-party software, if you want to track or if you want to interact with some marketing campaigns, you're going to end up paying a lot more money for it if it has that ability to do it.
So speaking of load times, how does page speed and how fast your website loads, why should a doctor care about that?
Well, the two main points of load time, page speed are related to SEO rankings. Google's algorithm highlights how fast a site loads as to how it's going to rank its site. And user experience. You want your user to be able to interact with your website in order to get the information that they're going to need.
Nobody wants to wait on a site to load like they did in 1994.
Nobody wants to wait on a site to load, no.
And how fast are some of our newest sites loading right now?
There was a study done a number of years ago that decided that the optimum time for a page to load was 2 seconds.
That's pretty quick.
They figure anything after 2 seconds that a user isn't going to stick around to interact with it, whether it's to buy something or to fill out a form or anything like that. So we've been eyeing that 2 second as a top end right now. But in actuality, most of our new client sites are coming in under 1 second.
That's smoking.
Yeah. We concentrate on a lot of points to achieve those things. We have tuned our servers to have them serve up the sites as fast as they can. We have optimized all the images that come in on a site to make them as small and as fast as possible. We leaned out the code as much as we can. We take WordPress as core. We strip it down as much as we can. We eliminate all the extra calls that are on there. We implement Google's products such as Tag Manager to ensure that third-party scripts come in at the right time in a load sequence.
Sounds a lot like a race car. What about, mobile is a big topic these days. Tell me about the history of mobile. Where are we today with mobile friendliness?
Well, mobile development over the last decade or even longer than that has changed dramatically in that time span and also in a year-to-year time span. Every year it seems to be evolving more and more. 12 years ago, on very little screens, all you would get, the little screens, you would get a few words of text here and there. Then the advent of smartphones came out and higher resolution, the ability to start actually interacting with websites fully on a phone has really thrown the web development world in a whole other track. It used to be that we built websites and then considered the mobile aspect of it afterwards. Now it's flipped. It's the other way around. You look at mobile devices as the mainstay of what you are building. Desktops and laptops, not a byproduct, but it's the everyday world of it. So we want to ensure that the sites perform on devices almost more than they perform on the laptops and the desktops. A decade ago, it started off that you would have what they call an adaptive site. And those were all pure static sites. There was no real interactivity or anything like that. It was just a static version of a stripped down website of yours.
Now, what if you have that in today's world still?
That would mean you'd lose clients. The ability to look at a website and interact with the telephone numbers, or everybody interacts with the maps on them now, the locations. How do I get to where I want to go with what I'm seeing right now? Does not exist and an adaptive site. But in a responsive site, which is your current website, is served across all devices, whether it's a desktop, whether it's a tablet, whether it's a laptop, or whether it's a phone. It's the same website. It just responds to the device that you are on.
How many different kinds of devices can our websites today respond to?
Our sites respond to every device that's out on the market. We have looked at all of the Windows-based devices, the Android-based devices, the iOS devices, whether they're phones, whether they're tablets, laptops, or desktops, to ensure that the sites function and look as good as they can across all of them.
So the goal is to have it look perfect no matter what size screen or what resolution or what magnification the client, the prospect, the patient is actually searching for that dentist on.
Exactly. It looks the same across all of them, meaning an experience. Obviously, the elements change a little bit because their screens are smaller and stuff, but it's the experience we consider first.
So how does a doctor that has a mobile website, how do they know if what they have is old or new, good or bad, in compliance with Google or not? How can they self-diagnose what they have?
It's all time frame. Google in itself updates yearly with their algorithms. And if the site was built more than a year ago, you really need to look at it again because it's going to be outdated. It's not going to be performing as best as it can for the user. I mean, this is something we do all the time. We look at incoming clients, things that they had done in the past. How can we improve on them and how can we apply that to help them achieve more ROI?
So web development, a very technical sided subject, but a lot of information about what dentists need to be doing to attract more and better patients into their practice. It's all part of the patient attraction system. You can have a great design, you can have your video, you can have the follow-up, you can even have the tracking. But if you don't have the back end, if you don't have the optimizable back end, the fast page speed, and if you're not staying up to date with these standards, whether it's the optimization or the mobile standards, you're not going to be found and you're going to fall behind. Well, Tim, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate your time, hanging out a little bit, talking to our awesome dentists about what they can do to, attract more patients, attract better patients, because that's the name of the game. So thanks for being on the show, and as always, keep moving forward.